Seeing the door wide open, the curious baby crawled toward it, his tiny hands reaching out to explore the world beyond. Daniel finished his call and, still unaware of the little explorer behind him, started the car engine. Miracle had crawled behind the tire, fascinated by something on the dusty ground. Daniel slowly put the car into reverse, his mind on the conversation he just had. The car moved backward. Then the terrible sound, a short, sharp cry from Miracle. They said it was impossible, that Daniel and Floria would never have a child of their own, but miracles have a way of surprising even the most stubborn hearts. For 8 long years, Daniel and Floria waited. They prayed, they hoped. Every month brought a new wave of excitement, followed by quiet disappointment. Yet, their love grew stronger, not just for each other, but for the child they dreamed of holding one day. Daniel was a tall man with kind eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest room. Floria, his wife, was gentle and full of laughter. They lived in a small, cozy house inside a lively compound where children's laughter usually filled the air. But for them, the silence was loud. Every morning, Daniel would wake up before the sun and whistle as he prepared breakfast. "One day, our home will be filled with tiny footsteps," he would say, grinning as he flipped eggs. Floria would laugh and shake her head. "Patience, my love. God's timing is always the best." Their friends teased them gently. "You both are the best couple to never have a baby," they joked, making the couple smile even through their pain. They had each other, and that was their greatest strength. Then, one bright morning, everything changed. Floria felt a flutter in her belly, soft and shy, like a tiny butterfly. She ran to Daniel, eyes wide with joy. "Daniel, I think our miracle is coming." Daniel grabbed her hands, his heart pounding. "Really? You mean after all these years?" "Yes, after all these years." 9 months later, their miracle arrived. A beautiful baby boy they named Miracle. He had bright eyes full of wonder and a laugh that could make anyone smile. The compound finally heard the sound it had waited for. Baby cries from Daniel and Floria. Floria often watched Miracle crawl around the house, his chubby hands exploring every corner. Daniel would chase after him, pretending to be a big, scary monster, making Miracle giggle and squeal. Their house was alive with love and laughter, just as they had dreamed. But no one knew that this happiness was only the beginning of a story full of joy, heartbreak, and healing. One fateful day, most of the neighbors had already left for work, and the children were all at school. The compound was quiet, peaceful in the way that only an empty morning can be. Inside their small home, baby Miracle was sleeping soundly on his soft baby mat in the living room. Daniel was in a hurry that morning, excited about an important meeting with a client. This meeting wasn't just any meeting. It was supposed to be the day he signed a big contract that could change everything for their family. Floria was sweeping the rooms, humming softly, unaware that Daniel had forgotten to close the door leading outside to the veranda and the compound. In his rush to leave, he hadn't thought twice about it. Daniel got into the car, his mind racing with thoughts about the meeting. Just then, his phone rang. He answered quickly, speaking with confidence and hope. On the other side, the client's voice buzzed with promises and plans. Meanwhile, Miracle woke up from his nap. The sunlight streaming through the open door caught his eye. Seeing the door wide open, the curious baby crawled toward it, his tiny hands reaching out to explore the world beyond. Daniel finished his call and, still unaware of the little explorer behind him, started the car engine. Miracle had crawled behind the tire, fascinated by something on the dusty ground. Daniel slowly put the car into reverse, his mind on the conversation he just had. The car moved backward. Then the terrible sound, a short, sharp cry from Miracle. Floria stopped sweeping. Her heart jumped. She rushed into the living room, but Miracle was nowhere to be found. Panic gripped her as she noticed the open door swinging gently in the morning breeze. She ran outside, her eyes searching. There, by the car, Daniel stood frozen. In his arms was Miracle, lifeless, silent, his tiny body crushed beneath the tire. Tears streamed down Daniel's face, but no words came. Only sorrow filled the quiet compound. After that terrible day, nothing was the same. Daniel didn't speak, not a single word. His eyes were always red and swollen from endless crying, but his lips stayed tightly shut. Sometimes he would sit for hours in one spot, rocking slowly back and forth like a man caught in a storm inside his own mind. His face was pale, and the sparkle that once lit up his eyes had vanished. It was as if a part of him had died with baby Miracle. Floria watched her husband's silent suffering with a heavy heart. She mourned her baby, and the man who used to be full of laughter and jokes was now a shadow, broken, lost, and trapped in his pain. She wanted to reach him, to pull him back to the life they once had, but the walls Daniel built around himself seemed too tall to climb. One afternoon, Floria sat with her sister, Miriam, in front of their veranda. Miriam's eyes were full of worry. "Floria," she said softly, "have you thought about talking to the pastor again? Maybe more prayers will bring him back." Floria sighed, brushing a tear from her cheek. "We've been praying, Miriam, but Daniel just sits there, silent. It's like he's not really here. He barely touches his food and would occasionally take a few bites. I don't know what to do. I lose him every day." Their neighbor, Auntie V, who was just passing Floria and Miriam at that time, stopped and said, "I heard of a native healer in Dambo town. Some say the old ways can reach places that prayers cannot," she said. Floria looked at her, torn. "I don't know, Auntie. I want Daniel back. I'll try anything." A few days later, Daniel was taken to the healer's compound. When he returned, he was no different. Quiet, withdrawn, and still lost. One night, overwhelmed by the pain, Daniel stood quietly in the kitchen. In his hand was a small bottle of Sniper, an insect germicide. He was already contemplating drinking it to end his misery. Thankfully, Floria found him just in time. Her heart pounded as she gently took the bottle away. "Daniel, Please, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Don't do this. We need you. Miracle needs you. I need you. He looked up, eyes hollow, but filled with sorrow. He didn't speak, but the weight of his despair was clear. That night marked the darkest moment of his silent battle and the beginning of a long, slow journey toward healing. Floria held onto hope for both of them, for the man she loved, and for the family they still dreamed of. Months passed, and Floria's days had grown heavy with sorrow, her heart burdened by the silence that filled their home. Daniel was still lost inside himself, his eyes distant and empty. The house no longer echoed with laughter, only the quiet footsteps of a wife desperate for hope. One afternoon, as Floria walked to the market, the sun beating down on the dusty road, a southern voice stopped her in her tracks. Shh, woman! A strange, rough voice called out. Floria turned to see a mad woman sitting by the roadside, her wild eyes flashing with a strange light. Her clothes were torn, and her hair tangled like the roots of an ancient tree. People usually avoided her, whispering that she spoke with spirits and saw things others could not. But today, something about her pulled Floria closer, as if a secret thread connected their hearts. The mad woman's voice dropped to a whisper. Your husband is lost in darkness. You carry a heavy burden, but there is a way to bring light back to your home. Floria's breath caught. Please, she said, I'll do anything. The mad woman smiled, her eyes gleaming. Shh. Listen carefully. You must sleep with your husband, even if he does not want you. Do it with love and faith. Soon, a child will come, a new miracle to heal your hearts. Floria shook her head, disbelief mingling with hope. But how can that be? Daniel, he doesn't speak. He barely sees me. Hey! Shh. Repeat after me, the mad woman instructed. She. Floria repeated, desperate and willing to find a solution, even if it came from a mad woman. Now, hold your ear, the mad woman continued. Sometimes the spirit knows what the heart forgets. This child will be a gift, a blessing to wipe away your tears. Meet your husband this night and let the universe do the rest. Floria stood there, silent, forgetting for a moment where she was headed. As she walked through the dusty road stretching before her, she wondered if what the mad woman said was going to work, because her husband had not only avoided intimacy between them, but often slept on the couch to avoid body contact by all means possible. Should I even be taking advice from a mad woman in the first place? She thought to herself. At the end of her quiet deliberation, she made up her mind to give it a try. After all, she wouldn't be doing her husband any harm. That night, Floria was restless. She kept walking aimlessly around the house, still wondering how to go about the mad woman's instruction. She took a look at her husband, Daniel, who sat quietly on the couch, his gaze fixed on the floor. She took a deep breath and whispered, For us, for you, Daniel, I will try. And with that determination, she sat closely to Daniel, took his hand in hers, and leaned in on his shoulder. And for the first time in months, Daniel did not recoil or push her away like he had been doing since he started keeping to himself, refusing to be comforted. She quietly undressed him, and surprisingly, he cooperated and even took charge. For the first time since the sad incident, they were intimate like husband and wife. Immediately Daniel was done, he got up from her and walked away like he didn't share intimacy with her just a minute ago. But the deed had been done, and Floria was praying and hoping that this was enough for a new hope to grow inside her. The months passed slowly, and indeed, inside Floria, a new life was growing, a life full of hope and promise. She couldn't believe that what took them 8 years of trying before they had miracle took her only one night. She feared sharing the exciting news with Daniel because she didn't know how he would take it. But she concluded that her baby bump would do the talking. But for now, she would nurture the little life growing inside her. Daniel, however, remained trapped in his silence and sadness, and often kept himself indoors, unable to face the world outside. He didn't seem like he noticed his wife's growing belly because he still remained distant. When the time came, Floria picked her hospital bag and went to the hospital alone before calling her sister, Miriam, to meet her at the hospital. The pain was fierce, but her heart was stronger than ever. After hours of labor, a beautiful baby boy was born, crying loudly, full of life. Friends and family who came to visit her at the hospital whispered quietly among themselves. Some wanted to name the baby Miracle after the first son they had lost, but Floria was firm. "No," she said softly, holding the newborn close. "This baby's name will be Daniel, after his father, because he is the new hope for our family." The days after the birth were filled with gentle care and quiet prayers. Floria missed Daniel deeply, but she knew he wasn't ready for the hospital or the visitors. His mind was still fragile, his heart still broken. Finally, the day came when Floria was ready to bring her baby home. As she approached the house, tired but hopeful, she froze. There, standing at the door, was Daniel, unshaven, pale but standing. His eyes caught the sight of the tiny baby in her arms. Tears began to roll down his cheeks, quietly at first, then faster. Floria stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Daniel, this is our new gift from God. His name is Daniel." Then the unexpected happened. Daniel took the baby from her, cradling him close to his heart. For the first time since that terrible day, Daniel spoke, his voice soft but steady. "Now, I have a reason to live again. Welcome home, my son," he said tearfully. In that moment, a broken family began to heal. A new hope blossomed where once there was only pain. People rejoiced not just because of the new baby, but because the man who lost his speech and kept to himself since the incident spoke. The days after Daniel held his son, the house felt different, quieter but softer and warmer. The long shadow of grief that had hung over them slowly began to lift, replaced by tiny sparks of joy. Daniel still had moments of silence and sadness, but now those were broken by gentle smiles and whispered words to his baby boy. He called him Daniel Jr., a living reminder of hope and new beginnings. Floria watched her husband with cautious joy. "Look, Miriam," she said one afternoon as her sister visited. "He's talking again, even if it is just to his son. It's a start." Miriam smiled warmly. "Healing takes time, but it looks like your family is on the right path." Years passed and the family grew. 2 more children joined their home, filling it with laughter, tears, and love. They loved all their children fiercely, but never forgot Miracle, the son they lost. "Miracle is our angel," Floria told her children one night. "He's the light that helped heal our hearts and bring us back together." Daniel nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. "Yes, he is indeed an angel and watches over us every day." Though the pain of loss never disappeared completely, it changed shape. It became a gentle memory, a story of faith, resilience, and love that kept them strong. Their home, once filled with silence, was now full of life. The sound of children playing, the warmth of family, and the unbreakable bond of healing. And every day, Daniel whispered a quiet thank you to the miracle that changed everything, the son who gave him a reason to live again. Thank you so much for watching the story. This story actually happened to someone I know. It only goes to show that time indeed heals all pains, and that God is still in the business of doing miracles. Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section on what you think about the story. I would love to hear from you. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And do hit the notification bell beside it to be notified each time I drop a new video. Until I come your way again soon, stay happy.